Well, what do we have here? Another terrible SpongeBob episode that I'll be ranting on, which is Barnacle Face, which was a very disgusting episode. So, with that said, let's get this started, shall we, folks? Ugh. What's up, guys? This is Jonathan's Media Shack here again, and today, here it is, guys. Here is my review / rant on Barnacle Face from Season 8. Yeah, it came in a year of... This episode came out on September 16th, 2011 from Season 8. Which is a SpongeBob episode that I'll be ranting on. Another piece of shit episode. So basically, what the plot's about, on the night before the big school dance, Pearl gets a barnacle on her face. You know, like, barnacle is like a pimple. That's how they call a pimple in SpongeBob, like a barnacle. And she freaks out about it, and she cries about it as well. And after requesting expensive treatment to get rid of the blemish, Mr. Krabs refuses, and he instead asks SpongeBob to help Pearl remove the barnacle. Of course, because Mr. Krabs is too he's so selfish that he doesn't want to help Pearl with anything, but yet he asks SpongeBob to do it instead. Wow, is that how you really treat your daughter, Mr. Krabs? Like, she has a barnacle on her face and you're not doing shit about it. What a terrible father Mr. Krabs is. What a terrible father he is. He tries prying the barnacle out with his spatula, and then a shovel, and a jackhammer, all to no avail. But then, when Pearl washes her face with soap, more barnacles sprout out, and she totally wasn't happy about this, and that made her even more upset as well, rather than happy. Thinking all hope is lost, she locks herself in the restroom and cries really obnoxiously. SpongeBob then decides to simply hide the barnacles under a layer of facial cream, which ends up making Pearl's face look even more severely deformed and causing her to be unable to talk. Which of course, SpongeBob done fucks up everything that he does. Even when he tries to help, he just done fucks it up rather than to fix the problem. Finally, Pearl asks SpongeBob to get her more soap from the basement soap press, where he finds Mr. Krabs producing the house's soap, actually. Yeah, he really finds Mr. Krabs producing the house's soap, and Mr. Krabs then explains to SpongeBob that he makes all of his soap out of leftover Krabby Patties. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That is disgusting. That is literally straight up disgusting. And Pearl overhears this and realizing that she has been washing her face with grease, and she bitches at her father and gives up trying to remove the barnacles. SpongeBob, inspired by something she said, resolves to cover up the barnacles with Mr. Krabs' precious jewels, and Pearl's friends are then dazzled by her sparkling face, and then they depart for the school dance, and Mr. Krabs, having discovered that Pearl's wearing his diamonds, desperately sprints after her, and that's basically what the plot is. Guys, this is another terrible SpongeBob episode. Like, yes, I know. In this episode, Barnacle Face, Barnacle is how they describe a pimple in that show. And Pearl freaks out about this. And she cries about it, and she asks her dad to help. But her dad refuses, and he asks SpongeBob to help Pearl. Like, are you kidding, Mr. Krabs? Are you kidding me, Mr. Krabs? You're not gonna take her to see someone who can help her with the problems? Are you that much of a selfish, self-centered, arrogant son of a bitch you are, Mr. Krabs? Is that what how much you are? Oh my God, Mr. Krabs, you can't even help your daughter out either. That is just unbelievable. She's your daughter and you're not doing shit about this. Wow. What a terrible father Mr. Krabs is. Not only is he very selfish and cold-hearted and despicable, but he's also a very terrible father to Pearl. And if you think that was bad, it gets worse. Mr. Krabs explained that the shampoo that he makes were actually made out of leftover Krabby Patties. That is really disgusting. Like, who comes up with shit like this? Leftover Krabby Patties. That is really gross. And it's no wonder why Pearl became even more upset rather than happy, because she ended up getting more barnacles on her face, and she freaks out about this, and she cries like a bitchy person that she is. SpongeBob done fucks up everything that he tries to accomplish. Like, he really done fucks up big time. Like, he can't do nothing right in this episode. He just makes the situation even worse. Especially when Pearl tries to wash her face with soap. It just sprout up the barnacles, and that made her even more upset. Yeah. SpongeBob was a terrible helper to begin with in this episode. Mr. Krabs should have took Pearl to see like a pimple doctor, or a barnacle doctor, I should say, to help her get rid of the barnacles. And the ending was pretty stupid if you ask me. It was like, Pearl still had barnacles, true, on her face, but she had diamonds, and Mr. Krabs just freaked out about this. My God. I don't know what yeah, the plot just didn't make sense to me. Like, I understand anything could happen in a cartoon, but still, Mr. Krabs could have at least be generous enough to take Pearl to see someone who could professionally help her with her problems, with her barnacles on her face, so that she could get rid of them and she'll be alright. But no, Mr. Krabs instead wanted to be selfish for the sake of being selfish and asked SpongeBob to do it instead. And SpongeBob just done fucks it up, and Pearl gets more barnacles on her face and she cries like a bitch. SpongeBob done fucks it up big time because of that. And in the end, her friends come over and Pearl has diamonds and barnacles on her face, and Mr. Krabs just freaks out about that. Yeah. The plot, I'm sorry, but I thought it was really half-assed. Like, really. They could have done a much better job with the plot, but instead they just half-assed the plot, just like with other SpongeBob episodes that I ranted on. They just half-assed it, and they with bad morals as well. Yeah, Barnacle Face, in my opinion, I thought it was a really terrible SpongeBob episode. They could have done better, but no. It was just a slap in the face, and it was completely half-assed. And the ending wasn't even better either. It was just cliche and unoriginal to me. But if you like it, that's totally fine. I can handle your opinion on this episode. To me, I think they should have worked harder than this. This was just lame. And a terrible SpongeBob episode. And the way that they show barnacles on Pearl's face, which is absolutely gross. Not only was this episode really terrible, but it was very gross. Throughout the entire episode, it was just really sickening and gross. Like, ugh. Especially with barnacles. Especially when Pearl had a barnacle and she freaked out about it. It just was grotesque to sit throughout the entire episode. It was just grotesque. Yeah. Yeah, personally, I thought it was a really gross and terrible episode. So for my final rating for Barnacle Face, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 7. Terrible. And there you go. That was my rant on Barnacle Face. Thanks for watching, folks. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe to me, turn on notifications, and don't forget to send me a request, and I'll try to do them as soon as possible. This is me signing off, and I'll see you guys later. Stay safe, and peace out, y'all.